Hey, this is Matt. Once again, what about videos of the paid requests? It's time for George Gallo. Thank you so much for that. For those interested in requesting any type of videos, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And this is for the 2023 film Natasha Hall. Now, it's from the same director of a film I reviewed called Suffrage. I believe this is actually the first film he did, Joe Black. And it has the same actress, Cat Black, who I one of the things I enjoyed in Suffrage. And here, like, she's a good, capable actress. She has that Jersey, New York Jersey style attitude to her. I think she could do a lot bigger things in Hollywood if given the opportunity and the chance. She's definitely the highlight. I will say this one is a lot less silly, a lot less all over the place in terms of tone compared to Suffrage. So yeah, this one's a bit more serious in nature. I think since this is the first one, they had a much lower budget because, for the most part, it takes place in one location. Pretty much, Cat Black is this She's a private eye kind of investigator, taking pictures, doing surveillance. While she's doing that, she has this tape recorder, and you find out she's trying to write this script for this movie called Switchblade Sue. Every time to time, we do see her view of that, where the format changes to widescreen, which was a nice touch. And it's like in the desert, and there's characters like try to deal with all these bad guys. Nothing big, as much as you can with the budget, but there's a scene where you get some violence in there. What she could do with the switchblade, but it's obviously a script that she wants to write for a hopeful future in movies, or how we want to put it, the entertainment business. So while she's on surveillance, while she's tape recording, she notices something. She looks in, and someone is hit with a baseball bat. She's chased off. There's some earthquake tremors, which I thought more was going to come into play because of these earthquake tremors, but not really, other than the character referencing it. But she gets back home. She makes some phone calls. She makes a phone call. There's a phone call with this one lady who's pregnant, who knew the guy she was surveilling. I think is Walsh, who you find out is part of the crime family. There's another phone call she gets with a cop. And the director does a thing where, as she's talking, the camera pans, and then you see like two people on the other end in the same frame. They're in black and white, and she's in color. It's an interesting idea to visually see who she's talking to, but at the same time, there's a part of me that's wondering: is this really what they look like, or is she just being paranoid? Because it's a guy talking with her, but then a guy next to him who's got like a gun or something. You see that they're not on the up and up. So are we supposed to think this is her visualizing what she's seeing? Or. And why would it be in black and white? I don't know. Maybe just to showcase that they aren't really there. Yeah, I was a bit confused with that. Just okay, maybe if it's meant that maybe she'll like stare off, and then maybe the light will dim, and then there'll be like a little light bulb spotlight, and she's like looking at them. And then when she hangs up the phone, she looks over and there's nobody there. I don't know. That's not what they do, but it's like I said, I had it had to take me a minute to go, why are they in black and white? But I mean, it's a different take on it. Shows a bit of ingenuity. Now, I don't. Part of me one. It's a long film. It's 2 hours long. Just like the sequels, or kind of sequel, Suffrage was 2 hours long. I don't think these movies need to be 2 hours long. Granted, there are comedies that work that are 2 hours, The Big Lebowski being one of them, but I think these movies, if they were 90 minutes, 85, 90 minutes, I think they would work a bit better, faster paced. Yeah, I just don't see the need to be 2 hours. Like, there's a bit where she listens to messages on the phone for like 5 minutes straight. An idea that tells a little bit about her character, but again, this goes on for what feels like 5 minutes. There's a bit where Dwayne Whitaker, who's in the second film, he's in this as well. Dwayne Whitaker was in the film Feast. He was in a lot of stuff. His character was kind of pointless in this, at least in Suffrage. He was actually part of the story where he relented, he helped her out, helped her on this case, helped her get some information, or try to. Here he kind of shows up and then really nothing comes of it, and then you never see him again. Just for him to call her bitch like 18 times. Part of me is like, you could cut this out, it wouldn't really affected anything. So after the phone call, she gets very paranoid and thinking, oh my god, this is. But here's the thing, why did she get so paranoid after she calls the guy? Like, did she hear something? Like, she heard something as if she's being tapped, or she heard another voice in there, and her investigative skills knows that someone else was there. She heard a click, and then she knows this, wait, is that a click of a gun? Like, she calls the cops, but then immediately she gets paranoid, but then you're thinking, well, why is she paranoid? What did the guy do or say that made her all of a sudden paranoid when you called the guy in the first place? So she gets her stuff, tries to put her cat in a terrier. And I do like Cat Blast's performance. I do like her. She's like, fuck it, goodbye. Try to get the cat in. I thought it was a funny bit. Goes to this place that she was at before to lay low, of a guy who, I guess he works in the entertainment industry. He happens to be gay. There's definitely some un-PC dialogue in this. There's the word that rhymes with maggot, but with an F. Because he talks about the guy a few times when she's at the place. This is neighbor Rick, who will not shut up. And he's got a dog, and he's just like, pop, 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 pop. I'm sure that's the point, is that he's so annoying, but my god, I'm like, give me some Q-tips, get Freddy Krueger in here, and have him do a business on my ears, like Carlos. I'm like, Jesus, shut up. Shut your mouth. She develops the film that she took. And you get the idea that this is the early 90s. 1990. Because they've referenced a bit where later on when that guy comes back, he was up for Two-Face in the next Tim Burton Michael Keaton film. Like, they're making a sequel. And they're going to have like multiple villains. So that's Batman Returns, which that came out in 1992. So I guess it's supposed to be like 1990, 91, give or take. Granted, I don't know why the guy would be up for Two-Face, because Billy D. Williams was Two-Face in Batman 89, so Tim Burton decided not to have any more Billy D. as Two-Face. Plus, of course, Two-Face was never in Batman Returns, so I don't know what that was about. If maybe his mind was changed and said, nope, I'm not using you. So again, it's like, well, Two-Face wasn't in that, so. Unless they meant a third one, but I swear they mentioned stuff that seemed like it was talking about the second one. I don't know, so maybe I'm looking too deep on that. I was just a bit confused. So while she's at this place, like I said, she's developing film, and the movie kind of it slows down a lot in this point because, for the most part, we're just stuck in this place where she's playing the piano and she imagines this guy with a mustache or a guitar, and I'm like, who the hell is that guy? For a church, I'm like, who the hell is that guy? It's like a if Hitler was an El Mariachi. She'll think of her film that she wants to do, and she starts typing some bits of the script. Her Switchblade Sue script. She calls this journalist, played by the director Joe Black, to say that she's got this evidence of these photos. I have no idea why Joe Black doesn't just, if she doesn't tell him where she lives, so you just go there and get the stuff himself. I'm trying to remember the details of that. Like, she wants his help, but then at one point, oh, you don't help me? Wait, you haven't helped me? Screw you. She has this fantasy of the Switchblade Sue killing all these people that she knew in her life in very violent ways. Like I said, she does listen to voice messages for like 5 minutes. Some of them are from her mom. And like I said, the story kind of drags here because the whole mystery, like Walsh family, the crime family, the Walshes, that's kind of forgotten for a good chunk of time. And you don't really feel any amount of tension or suspense of someone's out to get her, someone's going to find out where she's at. She's being paranoid. People knocking on the door. Is that who someone I could trust? Is that a neighbor? Is that someone else? Pizza delivery guy? Who? Or her trying to figure this case out and getting the evidence she's got and trying to dot the I's and cross the T's of what this mystery is. Not a whole lot happening in the middle. And I guess that's why I'd probably say Suffrage I prefer. Just because at least there's a bit more going on. For that running time of 2 hours. Like I said, I think a good chunk of the middle could have been cut out because it just doesn't feel like a whole lot happening during that time. Maybe it's just so it got kind of boring in the middle of it. Until ultimately her gay friend does arrive with this guy who you think is his new boyfriend, but then she's hiding, hears that this guy's a dick, and just using her, I guess, friend, because she also called the guy, the F word that rhymes with maggot. Just I think they were boyfriend, girlfriend, but then he was gay, and then. But then when she kind of makes that guy leave, and her friend comes by, oh, it's nice to see you. I'd probably say that was some of the better scenes. As they're talking about this upcoming, Michael Keaton, Tim Burton movie. Also, apparently shooting an episode of Cop Rock. And also, I swear that there's references to Adventures of Ford Fairlane in this. Because early on, she says something like combustible, kind of like Ford Fairlane would say, Andrew Dice Clay would say. And then in this, she says, Michael Keaton, I fucked him. Oh. I'm like, okay, that's gotta be Andrew Dice Clay. There's gotta be Ford Fairlane. Clint Eastwood, I fucked him. Oh. Which, if that's the case, then I'm always down for someone referencing Ford Fairlane because I love Ford Fairlane. I think that's one of the more underrated films of that era and gets points for referencing that. So that's all good for me. And if that's the case, then I wish we could have seen more of that. Just more of her version of Andrew Dice Clay, just going around, talking shit to people, a dialogue, talking to the people on the streets, give them all sorts of crap, without fart jokes, without any of that stuff. But like Ford Fairlane, just go it in, talking spit, cursing. Because it ends kind of on a, like, after their conversation, someone tries to go by the place. I wasn't sure if that was like the dirty cop. I'm assuming it was. And I guess the neighbor Rick saw him and shot him. And our lead character escapes. This is filmed to the journalist and this lady lawyer. And then everything seems fine. And then she gets a call from the lady who's pregnant saying, I did talk to that guy Walsh and I shot him. And she's like, oh my God, why'd you do that? She's having a baby, so she drives a lady, and she's driving her to the hospital, and then the movie ends. Which I thought was a weird way to end it, because then you're thinking, well, what's going to happen afterward? Is the lady going to get arrested? Are people going to find out, look into the death? This Walsh guy, if he's part of a crime family, will other pieces of the crime family go after them? Question them? Wonder what's going on? Especially when the lawyers got this film, they find a dead body, they know, wonder what this is about. So I don't know. I can't say this was my cup of tea. The only thing I could say I liked was Cat Black and her performance. I'd probably say Suffrage, despite its silliness, that moved at a better pace. Dwayne Whitaker, he was a nice support. He had a bit more to do as a character. Here, it's 2 hours long. I think 30 minutes have been cut out. I think much more of the mystery. Because as an investigator, she doesn't really do a whole lot of investigating. She kind of just sits on her hands in a house waiting for stuff to happen to her. She doesn't solve anything. She doesn't, like I said again, she doesn't solve anything. She doesn't investigate anything. Things just happen without her willpower. And it's just her kind of waiting around for the movie to pick up. It's like her waiting around. It's like the character waiting around for the movie to pick up around her. Kind of like, okay, movie, can you do something? Okay, if you're not going to do something, I'm going to type this thing and think of my movie and Switchblade Sue and okay, I'm going to do this. Okay, I'm going to what else did she did? Play the piano and try to play. So that's just me though. So it's not a film I would ever watch again. But if you do at all, it is on Amazon for $3. If you're at all interested, watch the trailer. Like I said, it just came off as fairly uninteresting, fairly slow paced. Not a lot for Cat Black to do in terms of like going around the environments. I know I had a low budget, but like I said, other than maybe some of her fantasy sequences of her movie, some bits of her performance, just not a whole lot else to the flick. Like I said, the mystery, the crime aspect gets almost forgotten in a good chunk of the middle. I don't know. Just wasn't that interesting, to me at least. So with that said, thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.